Welcome back. Former President Donald Trump meeting with GOP lawmakers yesterday, touting the, quote, great unity within the Republican Party. Joining us now, House Ways and Means Committee member, New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. Claudia, it's great to have you. Congresswoman Tenney, thank you. Republicans not able to unify last time that they had full control of Congress. So that's a big criticism that's kind of hanging out there. What's different this time when the economic stakes are even potentially higher?
Well, hopefully we will unify. We've had a few fits and starts. We had quite an eventful year last year, a lot of rounds to get a speaker elected, and then an unprecedented removal of a speaker, and then a new speaker. So we need to get together as Republicans and understand our mission. I think President Trump did a very good job of talking about the issues that sort of converge and are the critical issues. And that's the economy, which includes inflation, taxes, and pricing. Also our security, which is our border and our national defense, and also energy. All of these three things are inextricably tied, and really the key ingredients that President Trump set forth in his first term and was very successful at, and we were on a course to real prosperity, bringing our jobs back, energy independence, securing the border, making sure we cut taxes and increased growth and started having an opportunity to pay down some of our debt and deficits, minimizing and reducing mandatory debt, which is the problem. The mandatory spending is our real problem. We were getting there, and unfortunately we had this unprecedented pandemic election. But I think Trump, yesterday, President Trump was funny. He was energized. It was great to have him in the room. And he recognized something that I raised as a question I asked, which is one of the most important things, is we are going to win on policy. Policy is what matters. The problem is the Democrats don't win on policy. They win on process, and they're going to try to take this election using a Biden executive order and harvesting votes and all that, and we have to be on top of it. Okay, so that's my big concern.
So his contender, the Democrat, Joe Biden, was at the G7 meeting, Congresswoman. And, you know, I think a lot of Americans look at that and they say, why do we go to these things? What does this group do? Do we like any of these people? Do they help us on policy? Do we have any alignment there? President Trump was so tough on NATO in his first term. Will he be tough on the G7? Might we say, you know what, G7, do your thing. We're going a different course.
I don't think so, because the president understands how important it is for us to trade with the world. I come from an area that is the #1 ag district in the Northeast. We need to trade the food that we produce, not just with our communities in New York and the eastern part of the United States, but also with the world and with our partners. So we have to have a secure world and also to have a prosperous world and the opportunity to grow and pull ourselves out of some of the debt and deficits that we have and bring prosperity to our region and our trading partners. So it is important, but what's disastrous is the lack of competency and the ineptness that is projected from President Biden and on down to all of the people that serve him, including the vice president, the secretary of state. It's very dangerous, and it's going to be harmful for our security, but most importantly, our economy, which relies on our security.
You are pushing the New York governor, Hochul, to pardon Trump. Do you think she'll listen to you?
Probably not, but I think she's a lawyer and admitted to the New York bar, as I am. I served I've been on the bar for I don't know how many years, over 30 years. My father was a 35-year New York State Supreme Court justice, the same type of judge that Judge Marchand was. This is just a travesty to see what is happening to our justice system, not because she likes Donald Trump or supports him in any way, but to reinstate some credibility in our once venerable justice system. A pardon is in order because of this total, just malicious prosecution coming from Alvin Bragg and removing Alvin Bragg from office. That is what former congressman, our great governor, gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin ran on. My first act would be to remove Alvin Bragg, who's allowing criminals, and violent criminals, by the way, in New York City and his jurisdiction to go free while he pursues a case against President Trump that is a clear case of malicious prosecution.
Yeah.
I think she should remove him as well.
It's been pretty bizarre to watch. Congresswoman, we'll just end with this. We're wondering about Trump's VP pick. He said he, quote, he says he has a sort of pretty good idea of who that person will be, and he'll announce at the convention. But we're wondering, do you think he's going to go in the direction of choosing a businessman or somebody who is more of a career politician? And what does he need?
I think he's going to be looking at someone who knows how to make payroll, someone who understands how to survive in the business world, because America runs on business. And he also is going to pick somebody that I think is electable, someone that could be the president of the United States after he serves. And I think that's what he has indicated are his main reasons. We have a great bench. There's a lot of great candidates out there that I think he's going to have to choose from. So that's going to be the $64,000 question for the next several weeks until we get to the convention.
So we get till July.
Very excited about getting there.
Congresswoman Tenney, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.